Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Level 2 Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. It's February 15th. So this week, what I'm doing is a continuation of what I was speaking about. It's a bit of a divergence from the Level 2 recording for lesson number 4. Last week, I was speaking, or 2 weeks ago, rather, I was speaking about superposition and the behavior of DNA. And I want to get back to this and get back to the idea of the flying rainbow lasagna as a rearranger of events. So one of the first things is understanding that this shape that I've got here, this shape, the membranes over here, that these membranes, I call it the membrane of death, but it is also an accumulation of events. So let me draw this all out here. So if this is the basic time vortex, my little shorthand that I'm always drawing, I write a super exaggerated version of the membrane of death. These highlighted areas, that's the membrane of death over here. And let's say this pink line is the path of least likelihood. It is the one little, thank you very much, Joelle. Joelle is saying that she's happy that me and Cheeky are feeling better because we had the horrible flu last week. Thank you to everyone who understands like that we were just totally non-functional. We just really needed to take time to rest. I couldn't even think clearly to be able to share ideas. So in this, this basic diagram that I'm always drawing here, and then I'll say these yellow timelines. These yellow timelines, oh, you can't even see that color, green timelines. These green timelines over here, these are the ones that all end on the membrane of death. They don't continue infinitely. This one coming up the center continues infinitely. So wait, and I also need to say that all of this happens in a matrix, not in a vacuum. So if we've got, this is the cross section of that basic torus shape. So what I just drew over there, that's this quadrant right down here. See, this box right here is this box right here. All right, now that we've got that established. But this box down here, this little quadrant, this does not exist in a vacuum. This actually exists in a matrix of many of these little tori. And it's all the same singularity. So this, we've got a singularity that's over here. And we've also got a singularity that's over here. And we've also got a singularity that's over here. And what we are experiencing is an oscillation or a jumping back and forth of energy between these various singularities, up and down like that, and then up and down like that. So if I show you how this goes, when this little piece of energy is jumping up here, it is also in the same way in a mirror. It's being mirrored is what I'm trying to say. It is also jumping downward. So we have an impulse that is heading upwards like that, and that same impulse is also mirrored and is heading downwards like that. And that is what causes the stretching of this infinitely stretchy fabric of space, time, and consciousness into these two timeline shapes. So if I were to draw this what I'm drawing over here, if I drew that a little bit more accurately, we would also have, here we go, another one that goes down like that, and that has a similar reflected path that goes all the way down. I can't make my pen go all the way down there perfectly, but you're getting the idea that I've been drawing this time vortex and showing it to you as if you only have one life that is not connected to any other lives. But actually what's happening in this area over here is absolutely affecting what is happening in this area over here, that they are both interactive and that they're taking place at the same time, but at the same time means in higher dimensional time. So what we actually have is a bouncing back and forth of consciousness between these various singularities, bouncing back and forth, change colors, between here and here, and also between here and here, and it doesn't stop because it's also between all of the rest of them, all in a huge big giant line. We have a whole big giant matrix. All right, so Joelle asks, every quadrant is a parallel past or future life? Wow. The answer is yes. If I go back to this area over here and draw this more fully. So we've also got, wait, I want to draw it so that it comes out right here, like this. And like this. So here, this is like my little yellow sculpture. Here's 1 vortex, 2 vortex, 3 vortex, 4 vortex. So that's, and I'll hold this up for everyone to see. So this yellow sculpture, look, we've got 4 vortices, and then we've even got a couple that are implied, but that I did not actually take the time to make with actual lines. We've got at least 4 different lives that are tied together into one chakra shape. And those 4 different lives can be, Joel says, truly multidimensional. Exactly. Like this can be here, if I draw it in different colors, this can be your life from whatever, 1875. And this can be your life from the year 2,335,000. Like, and what is happening when you are tuning up? So we're tuning up, we're going from being aligned like this and hitting the membrane of death into gradually being closer and closer to the path of least likelihood, and then eventually aligning with that path of least likelihood. And I just always clarify with everyone, even though you're all experts and you've been in this class for a while, this is shorthand that what's actually happening is that these are very long spirals that go around the vortex like that, but it's just harder for me to draw them so that you can see what's going on. But when you are in alignment with this core timeline, it's like you have gotten all of your, you have changed the alignment of the overall structure. So you can have this guy's askew, this guy's askew, and this guy's askew. And these are all several different lives. Okay, so Jen asked, does that mean we should keep or abandon the human form? This is a really excellent question, so it's a good opportunity. Someone else asked me this from the Facebook intro that I did a couple of weeks ago. She wanted to say, what will I, let me go back to my face. She asked, what do I expect to happen in my own life? Like, will I die? What will happen? It's kind of the question about what will happen with death. These are really, really worthwhile questions to consider. So my understanding is that when we no longer have to explore every possible death before we finally get to eternal life. That was never our intention. So it's not like, okay, you have to read every single page in the book of you before you finally get to page 99, and that's the page where it says, oh, and by the way, you're God and you don't have to die. You no longer have to go through all page 1 through 99. We can now, Flying Rainbow Lasagna, you can skip directly to page 99. We were never supposed to have to go through all of that filler. I do not envision having to have a physical death. And, I teach that I consider that an aberration, like not that you don't have to die and then become immortal and go to heaven and then continue onward. Like that's not what we're supposed to be doing. What I do envision is a change of state. So also here's another, so we're changing the program of how our genes behave and what we expect to be in experience. The previous expectation was you are born, as you move through time, you will become progressively more decrepit, lose your vitality, become weaker as opposed to stronger, become more diseased, and then eventually like a clock running down, like entropy, like the idea like you've wound up a clock spring that's going tick, 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 and then as your body dies down, your ticking goes tick, 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 and then you stop ticking anymore. And that's like the objective materialist viewpoint of how death happens and how life happens and how death happens. And so first, what I envision is that we no longer have to conform to those expectations, that we can move through time, but that moving through time does not mean that your body has to function less well as you move through time. And I consider that to be kind of like a huge disconnect, but that's the primary presumption and the templates that have been offered for us in terms of our experience. Most of us have seen people that grow old from being young and healthy and vital to losing their vitality in middle age and then becoming hugely decrepit, bent over old people with melted faces and then dying. And that, oh, thank you very much, Golden Hawk. Thank you so much for participating. We need new templates. So one of the ideas is that we don't have to become more decrepit and weaker as we move through time. What if we can actually become stronger and healthier as we move through time? Now, to many people, they think like, that can't be. How can you do that? Blah, blah, blah. But the idea is your body health and vitality has everything to do with your thoughts and your behavior and the behavior of your DNA. As opposed, so I'll tell you this from personal experience. I think a great deal of aging, chronological aging, has to do with stress that we are undergoing in terms of our body and in terms of friction. Like many of us, most of us in this time and place are not able to simply flow through time with ease, going from moment to moment and activity to activity, like in a nice, comfortable way. That's like being on vacation. That's in this time and place, that would be considered being on vacation. Like you get to wake up when you want to wake up, eat when you feel hungry, do the activities during your day that you feel like doing in the order that you feel like doing them, or just simply resting, and then rest and sleep when you're tired. And that, to most people, they think like, that's like being on vacation. Most people have to wake up at 7:15 because that's when the alarm goes off, so they can get to the office at this time, so they can do this at this time, they can do this at this time. You're not allowed to poop when you need to poop because you have to be working at your office. Then you get to have lunch at this time, then you have to drive home at this time, then you have to go to do chores at this time. Like, for most of the aging that I have witnessed and that I've experienced in my own body has been due to stress of being on the wrong timelines. And being on the wrong timelines doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, whatever, you're being shot by a bullet or run over by a Mack truck. It can mean like, hey, you're working an 18-hour day. I worked with some jobs doing cannabis trimming at a certain point to finance my journey from upstate New York to California. All the work that I did was legal, don't worry. But some of those places where I work, like, you work an 18-hour day, you get paid by the pound, and you simply sit in your chair doing your work all day long in order to get paid. And I noticed in my body during the couple of months that I did that work, a lot more aging. And that's because I wasn't able to sleep when I was tired. I wasn't able to get up and stretch my body and take breaks when I needed to take breaks, or, you know, use the toilet when I really need to use the toilet. Like, I really learned from that what most people are doing when they overwork, or when they work for, you can work like very intensely for a short amount of time, or work, you know, not that intensely, but for 20 years, that people are sacrificing their health and vitality because they're doing things that are against the health and vitality of their body. That it's almost impossible in this time and place to have a career and to work for, you know, like the regular industrialized corporate world, and to maintain your health and vitality. Because you might be like, I'm tired and I need to come into work at 10 a.m. You can't come into work at 10 a.m. You're supposed to be at work at 8:30. Like, you don't get to make those choices. So yeah, and the whole point is, this society is brutal. It doesn't really care about whether you are tired or whether your face is getting wrinkled because you're not getting enough rest or anything like that. So a huge amount of aging I'm perceiving in this world happens due to humans being overly stressed, being asked to do work that is that takes away from their vitality and doesn't feed them. Because almost anything that you need to do, like, there's a way to do it so that it doesn't break down your body, so that you can do it comfortably. But it means that you, instead, if you're going to install a fence, it might mean like, okay, you dig one fence hole a day and then you go do something else. But if you're going to work professionally as a construction worker, you have to dig 22 fence holes in a day and finish the fence in one day. You can't be like, okay, like, I'm going to take a month to do this job. So that the whole idea is that human sacrifice is not just killing someone, like, I'm going to cut your throat and then you're dead, and that's, I've sacrificed you. Human sacrifice can also mean sacrificing your humanity. It can be sacrificing your true self. It can be sacrificing your comfort. It can be sacrificing your vitality. And it turns anything that can be an enjoyable task into a chore. Like, think about the difference between, if you're working in your own garden, you set your own hours, and you're like, oh, like, I'm digging a hole, and this is so much fun, and this is so cool, as opposed to being like a migrant farm worker where you have to bend over 10 hours a day in order to pick strawberries, and you're being paid by the pound, and it's horrible. It takes its toll on the body. So this is the whole point, that moving through time chronologically does not have to equal decrepitude and aging, and it mostly does in this time and place, not only because of the expectation that has been implanted in people from what they see as other people's examples of their lives, but also because of the social and economic paradigm. Like, if you want money, you're going to have to do this with your body, and otherwise you can be sitting around perfectly peacefully, but without any freaking food to eat because you didn't earn your money for your food. So this is slavery. This is the whole idea, or domestication is a better word. It's domestication of humanity, because if we all lived like dolphins, they're like swimming around, they're having fun, they're playing, they're like going to eat a fish and then swim around to the ocean. To us, that would be like being on vacation. And to them, that is normal. And so we would have a very different experience of moving through time. So we're not supposed to live a stressful, unfulfilling existence that grinds us down into mere nubs. And then, because this is also the the social justification that says, okay, sacrifice who you are for several decades, but then you get to retire, and then you finally get to blah, 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 like you've always wanted to. And the difficulty is that people sacrifice their health over several decades, and then they either die before they even get to retire, or they retire with many, many health complaints, and they're not able to do all the things that they would have wanted to do when they were young and healthy and vital, like climb a mountain or travel the world. So all of that is antithetical to what we're supposed to be doing. And it basically puts you on the wrong timeline. It's like saying, I'm going to be on the wrong timeline for several decades, then I'll finally retire and start to be on the right timeline. And all of that is a compromise or a sacrifice of your true self, of who you're supposed to be. So in a lot of this, in order to transform and reach these new approaches of moving through time, we have to break the social construct. We have to break all, because you will get patted on the head a lot if you sacrifice your body. It's like you join the military, or you do some very duress work, some very difficult work that pays you a lot. Everyone will be like, good dog, you really deserve to get that paycheck. And if you sit around indulgently, sleeping late and then sitting in the sunshine and going to the beach, everyone will say, you're a bad person, because it doesn't take taskmasters, external taskmasters, cracking the whip and saying, oh, you better work harder. It's the other slaves that keep you in line. The dog boss has arrived. Come on, dog boss. Come on over. Yeah, so Cheeky's got the right idea. Come on over. You want to jump up? Come on up. You come over here? Come on up. Come on. You want to jump up? No, just say hi to everyone. Here, dog boss has the right mind. Here you go. There's dog boss right over there. There's a sweetie girl. Yeah, she sleeps when she's tired, and she, walks when she feels like walking, and she stops walking when she doesn't feel like walking. Like this is the way we're supposed to live our lives. But most people say, like, how indulgent that's not. That most people consider being an adult and being responsible, not honoring what you feel and what you need to do inside, and instead doing what society or something external wants you to do. And it is often lauded in this time and place as being a good person, you're being responsible, and also being a responsible parent. That once you procreate and have children and you have to take care of your family, the idea that you want to work in a comfortable way and get enough rest and not overstress your body is considered insane. Like, what? You want to not, work too hard and get stressed out? You've got a family to feed. Of course you're going to work hard and get stressed out. And so then you get to reduce your vitality and not live in a healthy way, and then your children do not have healthy and vital parents to take care of them. None of that is God's plan. None of that is part of the original instructions manual for how we're supposed to live and how we're supposed to move through time. I know this is a very long explanation of what happens when we die. So first of all, the transformation in thought structure is we're not supposed to be becoming more decrepit as we move through time. Imagine if you had whatever, $1 million or $1 billion, so you didn't have to worry about, bowing down to society in order to get money. How would you live your life? You would sleep enough. You would wake up at a time that's comfortable to you. You would either have someone cook food for you, or buy food that is good food for your body and eat it when you needed it, and you would have the time to exercise and take care of your body. And then you would also spend your time doing things that are important and that matter to you. Because I'm telling you, like, doing stupid industrialized mechanical labor does not feed the soul, and this is not the thing that keeps us healthy and vital. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So we are now moving through time, but we're healthy and vital, and we're not aging and becoming more decrepit. But you might still, whatever. Like, I feel like my body over the past decade or so I've been here for about 17 years, but over the past decade, I've noticed I've moved through time. My body doesn't look older. My body isn't weaker. Like, my body is actually healthier now than it was 10 years ago, because I've been able to find medical cannabis and other things, and like dietary changes that are much better for my body. So I'm actually, I think, better now than I was 10 years ago. So why do we have this program that says, oh yes, every decade you must get older and weaker? We can change and transform that. And I don't see that we have to have the transformative experience of death. That I am looking at ascension, but I'm not defining it as the ascension of, the new age world or whatever we would define that as. I'm defining ascension as a transformation, a change of state from physical, dense matter into pure light, without the intervening levels of, death, decomposition, liquefaction, and then a final, transformation into like non-physical energy structure. That we can make that transition instantaneously going from solid into beam, like a solid being into a beam of light. But this is like the change of a caterpillar, transformation of a caterpillar into a butterfly. In that transformation, the caterpillar is destroyed. It's not like you have a caterpillar and then you also have a butterfly standing next to it. You get rid of the caterpillar in transforming into the butterfly. So when we make that culmination, when we get through that little wormhole, we get into the higher dimensional, less dense realm, literally what's happening is we are experiencing time from a higher dimensional viewpoint. And we no longer have physical densified bodies that are submerged in the physical realm. We're not at that level. We're not, a caterpillar mashes up lots and lots of leaves with its mouth parts and puts it inside of it, and it does that consistently, and it's the era of eating, and it's eating that type of food. When the caterpillar goes through its chrysalis, it doesn't eat leaves after that anymore. It's eaten all of the leaves. So right now we're in the era where we eat physical food. I ate some physical chocolate pudding. I ate physical apple. I ate physical stuff. But at a certain point, so, and I'm still here with everyone clearly, at a certain point, we won't have to eat physical food anymore. We have eaten all of the physical food. We have done the caterpillar journey, and then we are to transform into a higher dimensional vehicle of pure consciousness or pure light. We don't have to eat the physical hamburgers. Now we have the recordings or the memories of those hamburgers to sustain us, and the memories of walking on a beach, and the memories of, you know, swimming or any of the things that you did. That all those things that you did with your physical body when you were here are then food and fuel for you when you were in your non-physical format. So, so I don't, it's not like everyone is going to die and then be resurrected. I'm not a biblical, not at all. Gal is welcome. Good to see you. I'm not a biblical literalist. And so I don't believe that the idea is that we're all going to die in a big giant cataclysm and then, you know, ascend and go to, like, the whole idea of what a lot of New Age, what I think is erroneous, is the idea that people think, okay, you're going to ascend and that means like getting out of here. It's that escapist thing. Like, you know, like, Calgon, take me away. This place is screwed up. I need to ascend on out of here. Ascending means that you will change state. Someone last week on one of the comments, and I get the best comments. P.S. Let me just break aside and say thank you to everyone who comments. I get the best comments, people that are really encouraging and insightful. And so thank you for watching, and thank you for the things that you share. But they were saying, just a sec, about death and about what was going to happen. Hold on. Well, anyway, yeah, I'm sorry if I'm not finishing that sentence correctly. It'll come back around. It'll come back around. The idea is that you don't have to physically die, be transported somewhere else. That was the idea about ascension, being transported somewhere else. That it's not like you're going to get into a clank metal spaceship or fly somewhere else in a flying saucer or leave the planet. That's the whole idea. Like, when people, so I also had to understand about this. So I'm a walk-in, right? Like, I'm new to this physical human body, but I don't look at my body like a disposable tissue. Like, oh, like, we'll just get a new body. We'll just get a new body. I actually had to learn that a lot of people in this time and place aren't that integrated in their bodies, and they don't actually identify with their bodies. They're kind of disassociated from their bodies. They look at their body, they're like, what's this body thing that I'm wearing, that I'm using? Like, why does this body thing need food and exercise? I'm really well integrated into my body now. It's been a long journey in order to get to those levels, because there were a lot of like neurological things that made it difficult for me to actually fit into this body. But now that I'm in this body, no, I don't intend to like just go off on my consciousness journey. Like, oh, I'm just going to fly off, Calgon, take me away, and then you know, leave my body behind like a dead corpse. That's that whole thing that I was talking about in level 1, that we have these two different aspects of self, and they are supposed to be complementary. Like, if I go back to that picture here. These two aspects of self are supposed to be complementary. Your physical self, the one that is here, the one that is highlighted in white in this picture, that aspect of self, and all the rest of this stuff around here is supposed to be complementary. So your non-physical aspects of self are supposed to help keep your physical body alive, so that your physical body can keep on eating food and keep on emitting it as a vibration or a tone of love. This is what a hamburger tastes like, for all the rest of your non-physical being to be able to consume and be nourished by. And like, again, you're not supposed to have intermediaries, no saints or Jesus or, you know, whatever fake Roman Jesus or Jehovah that is taking your emanations and then feeding them back to you. Like, it's supposed to be a direct these beings, these, you know, chakras or whatever, they're not supposed to be barriers between yourself and divinity. They're supposed to be conduits, perfectly clear conduits that connect you to that higher sense of self. And what we've had are a lot of ego structures that, instead of being perfect conduits, instead are like barriers, you know, that like make a wall that prevent you from being able to get through there. And they're not a porous membrane, and they'll just say like, I'll just let through whatever you want, you know, whatever I want to let through, not 100% of what's supposed to come through. The whole point being, this is supposed to be partnership. And if you do the partnership right, you keep on being alive. And you keep on being alive, like you transform into a new form, but you keep on going, you keep on moving through time. And if you don't do this right, what happens is you end up having just this thing that I'm highlighting in red without any of the other stuff around it. And that's called a corpse. When you have just a physical body without any of the rest of this stuff that I'm highlighting over here, you have a corpse. You have a body, but nothing animating it, nothing that makes it move through time, nothing that makes it go and be healthy and vital. So this is the whole idea, that we're supposed to have a vital partnership between our physical self and our non-physical self. And when the two are acting together correctly, it leads to an eternal journey through time. And when the two are not acting together correctly, what happens is your journey through time ends, and this becomes death. So what I envision in terms of, I know this is like a super long answer to the simple question of what do I see happening with death. We don't have to die physical body. You don't get rid of your body. You transform your physical body. And this is also analogous to what is happening with the planet. And when I say the planet, I want to show this picture to you that it's hanging on my wall, but I'll show it to you. The planet, this is the transformation that we're undergoing. So this picture that I've got here is called Birth of the Flying Rainbow Lasagna. Where's my picture? It's going to be scrolling. This right here. This is transformation of the planet. And this is what we are experiencing right now. We've got Earth's magnetosphere, these little dots. You can see all these little dots that I've got over here. This is Earth's toroidal energy field. And in this painting, it is transforming into this flying rainbow lasagna-shaped energy field. This is the transformation of the planet. And Joelle I'm agreeing with you. She says the planet, the sun, the solar system, everything is changing so fast. This painting, this whole thing, this is an apparatus. We are an apparatus that is made of the sun. I'm pointing to the sun over here, that is interacting with the earth, and that interacts through these magnetic fields that we've got surrounding and interpenetrating us. This is where my name Aurora comes from. That the Aurora Borealis is literally the example, the end result of what happens when Earth's magnetic field interacts with the sun's, emanations that come from the sun. And I'm not the only one that is doing this. This is what we're all supposed to be doing. Like, and I'll also say this, like in all the things that I'm sharing, like it's never only my individual journey. This is always intended to be the collective journey. Like if a song is available for me to play on the piano, then anybody can play that song on the piano. So the planet herself is transforming, and it's not a death that many people have been religiously prepared to expect. Oh, we're going to have this death transformation, this cataclysm, this book of Revelations, this, end of all things that's going to happen. And people are very afraid of pole shift too. They think pole shift, it's going to be like it was at the end of Atlantis, north, south to south, north, and that it's going to cause crustal displacement. But I'm telling you, the pole shift that we're experiencing is from inside to outside. That's what flying rainbow lasagna is. The inside becomes communicative with the outside. Not north, south to south, north, but inside to outside and outside to inside. What that does, when I was speaking about in level 1, how the ego is like a plastic wrap, a membrane that separates an individual from the context and makes it so that we cannot receive the love that is part of our context, that is there all the time. When we do this flying rainbow lasagna, we transform on a genetic level, we transform on a consciousness level, and what that does is it makes it so that that membrane, that separation, now is not something that it divides, but that it allows those two things to come together. Now you and your environment or your context can communicate much more effectively, and you can receive all of that love that is in your context. That is why we don't have to have food anymore when we do this transformation effectively. The planet is transforming, and we as individuals are transforming as part of our journey living on this planet. And the planet is moving away from materialism or objective materialism, the idea that you're just a physical body without all that extra stuff around you. Clearly, you're more than just a physical body, because if you don't have that extra stuff around you, you don't have movement. You're dead. You're a dead corpse. Our planet is not a dead corpse. So each one of us comes up against this wall where you have to say, hey, I'm either going to die or I'm going to transform into a higher dimensional state. And the planet is doing that transformation right now. The planet is saying, I'm not going to die. I'm going to transform into a higher dimensional state. And that is a mental journey. It's an inner journey. It's a consciousness-based journey. And we as individuals, if we want to still be associated with this planet, have to do an analogous journey, because we're like cells on the planet. So you don't have to fly to another planet. Some people think ascension means, oh, I'm going to fly to another planet. I'm going to fly to another dimension. I'm going to fly to Shangri-La or some magical special place. But what really happens is your body transforms, the planet transforms, and this place becomes a very special place. This place was always meant to be a very special place. We were meant to have heaven on earth, not this type of bifurcation where, earth is this world of suffering and torment, and then heaven is where you go after you die and everything is so great. That was never meant to be that way. We were always meant to experience a divine heavenly state while we are embodied, but because of the genetic degradation, that's why we haven't been experiencing that for all of what is known as recorded human history. So wait, I know there's lots of questions and comments over here. Let me not go too fast to go over this. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Jen asks, can you go into another body? So this is a really good question, because I had to learn that for a lot of people, when I see the word walk-in, that's what they think, that I'm like a disembodied spirit that came into this body. So I would say you don't want to go into another body. Like your body is your instrument and is absolutely tuned to you. And it goes way beyond the simplicity of just molecular structure. It goes into photons. The photons that make up this body came from stars, and that you have a personal, direct connection to those specific stars. None of this is random or arbitrary. And that's why people that are like Luciferian, that believe in technology so wholeheartedly that they want to get rid of their physical bodies, and they want to just take their consciousness and upload it into a giant mainframe, like a giant internet world, a virtual reality, and just live in a hologram that's a virtual reality. It's a dead world, because the pixels there, they don't have a provenance. In our world, here comes the dog boss again. In our world, all of our photons of our body have a provenance, a place where they came from. They came from a star, they fell on a leaf, I ate the leaf, they became a part of me, and now they're in me, and then eventually they will continue on their journey going elsewhere. This is levels of complexity. It's like if I made a painting, and if every single speck of paint, come on up, girl, come on over. Here's a dog boss. Thank you, guys. Every single speck of paint came from a special place and had a special meaning. It adds to the multidimensionality of the piece of artwork. It makes it even better than a flat computer-generated, boring pixel type of painting. So that each one of us is a masterpiece. Each one of our bodies, including Cheeky's body, we are masterpieces. And the idea of getting rid of your body that's a masterpiece so that you can be uploaded into some cheap, chintzy virtual reality is like a horrible idea. It's like giving up a diamond so that you can get a stupid cubic zirconium. It's totally, not the best thing to do at all. But that's why humans have been programmed with this idea that your body is worthless, your body is a chore, your body is nothing but, suffering, and you should get rid of it. And then you can finally be free. Like I joke about this a lot, that there's a TV show called Black Mirror, and there's a particular episode called San Junipero, where people that have diseased bodies get to live in a virtual reality fantasy land where their bodies are all healthy and they're, wind surfing and running on beaches and whatever. And they think that that's really great. Like, yeah, because like otherwise their body's in a coma, or, they don't have any capacity to enjoy themselves. But that's not, we have healthy bodies. Jen asks, where is the love? Does that matter? So the love is like the photons let's say, connection to the stars. Photons come from stars and they have a consciousness and they're circulating through our body. And what we're supposed to be doing is being in partnership with the stellar consciousness and experiencing the profound specialness of having those pieces of stars circulating through our body. Like, that is love. That is the opportunity of being here. So when people don't appreciate being here, when they don't appreciate having a body, and when they say, oh, liberation means getting rid of my body, that's like saying liberation is like getting rid of my photons. I don't want to have any more photons and have a connection to the stars anymore. To me, that is like an aberration. It's like saying I want to get rid of my painting. I want to not have paint anymore in order to make my pictures. Like, no, that's not what you want. You want to have a painting, but you want to be free to paint your painting and choose the colors that you want. So this is what we're really heading towards. We're heading towards freedom and being, the artists of our reality. So, okay, this question over here says, Joelle asks, did humans really originate in Lyra? Is this our story of genetic memory of heaven on earth? So I don't think that humans originated in Lyra, even though so right now on Earth, all the different humans that are here, many of us have different star backgrounds. People come from different places and, different cultural backgrounds. This is what I'm trying to say, that your photons have a provenance. Not everybody's photons come from the same stars. They come from different places. There's all sorts of different flavors. We're all, in a sense, the same photon that is being emitted from the sun and traveling endlessly forwards and backwards through time, over and over and over, embroidering the surface of time. But we're all at different points in our journey. So I'm at a particular point in my journey that is different than you guys, but we all respect each other. We're all the same God, the same point of consciousness that is coming from different directions and moving at different rates, exactly like my art. But what I would say is, let me just go back to this question. So people want, like, where does humanity originate from? So like humanity before it was genetically degraded is like the art project that is part of this planet in making cosmic love with the sun, our nearest star. And there's other forms of life that are on the other planets that are in this solar system that are like the art projects that are for that. Each planet is like its own painting. Is like its own particular art project that represents certain ideals. Just like each of my paintings, I'm exploring a particular idea creatively that gets expressed on that planet. And so Earth is actually a really amazing place. There's an incredible diversity of consciousnesses that are here from many different places. Like, it's like New York City. There's people that are from all over the world. There's people from New York, and there's people that are from Paris and Hong Kong and everything like that. So on our planet right now, and before the genetic degradation, I should go back. So in ancient Atlantis, before the genetic degradation, Earth was a cosmopolitan place like New York City. That means that we had people that were here that were consciousnesses that came from all sorts of different places. That came from, sorry, got to get some dog kisses here. That came from, a variety of different places, and they all, coincided and coalesced in that particular culture, and we weren't cut off from the places that we originated from, and we weren't cut off from the places that we were eventually going, our destinations that we were eventually going to travel to. Jen is saying like Men in Black. Yeah, like Men in Black. So, and right now in your own mind and in your own perception, there's a variety of star beings that are influencing us. Those occupiers of the interstices, the turds that refuse to flush, that's a particular space race or a particular group of space races that uses that technology. They're the evil losers, right? Then there's all these other beings that are also in existence. And then there are beings like my collective that I originate from, Aurora, that is, non-physical and non-technology using. And that's why, so, okay, everyone's like, well, where are the good guys? We definitely get beset by the bad guys, and we get, screwed over all the time by the bad guys, and they're all mentally raping us. Where's the good guys? The answer is the good guys are there, but our genetic tuning has been changed so that we can't tune into them very easily. And the music that we hear is all the amplified, horrible music of the synthetic telepaths that are the worst musicians. So what we need to do in order to hear the good guys and interact with them is flying rainbow lasagna. Change your DNA. And changing your DNA means changing the series of events that are the last moments on that membrane of death. That's what I was trying to say with the superposition. When we superposition, and I know I'm talking fast, I don't know how much more time. Let me see how much more time I got. Oh, okay, let's do 5 more minutes. Superpositioning. So we've got this level down here is what I did 2 weeks ago, and this level up here. And when they're jumping up and down like this, there's overlaps, and the overlaps are what end up making this flying rainbow lasagna shape. So each one of the timelines that I was drawing before is like an end result of a series of equations. We'll just draw it out right here. I know my dog also really needs to have a walk. Series of equations. Let's draw this out. Here, like 1 plus 2 plus 12 plus 15 equals blah, blah, blah. And then that's one death. That's a death right there. But then there's 3 plus 7 plus 25 plus 30 equals this. And that's a different death over there. And then let's do a different, whatever. 4 plus 8 plus 22 equals this. And that's a different death over there. That each one of these moments on this membrane of death over here are the end result of a series of calculations. And the calculations are not done with Arabic numerals like I have shown over here. They're the end result of a series of calculations variables that are your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, your genetic dance, your genes doing their dance, your genes doing their dance. This is a calculation. You're a big, giant quantum calculator. Don't be impressed by quantum computers. You're a quantum computer, and you're doing this dance through time, and we're all trying to figure out what is the dance I need to do in order to not die, in order to not hit those membranes, but instead to go through that wormhole that goes up the center. So all of this, when we're trying to do these calculations, it's like, okay, we're doing repeating and doing the next one, and doing the next one, the next one, like research and development, trial and error, until you finally get to that one that's the right one. But when we do flying rainbow lasagna, what we can do is be a genetic master, be a virtuoso. Be like, I'm going to take 1, 2, 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 from this position down here. And then I'm going to add that to an equation that is superimposed with this position up here, which is 17 plus 34 plus 57 equals an entirely new outcome. This is the whole idea of why flying rainbow lasagna allows us to no longer have to explore every single possible death, where we can rearrange the events of reality. So the big takeaway here in level 2 is that the outer skin, the membrane of death, this surface that we are working with here, is the moments of death, those final denouements, are like the last, the equation, the last set of the equation of your life. And that you don't have to go through every single possible equation, like what if I change it to this, and then what if I change it to this, and die over and over and over. What we can do is flying rainbow lasagna, where you say, well, I'm going to take half of the possibilities off of that timeline over there and add them to half of the possibilities of that timeline over there, creating an entirely new outcome. And part of the challenge is discontinuity. Like we have all these different timelines, and we want to go from one of the ones on the side to one of the ones in the middle. But let's say you jump directly to the one in the middle, where you're in perfect health and you have $1 million and you're doing exactly what you want to do, and you're living life to the fullest. If you did that jump, your rational mind would be like, how did I get here? This is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful life. They would say, how did I get here? But this question of discontinuity. When we do a jump like that, it's like life becomes more like a dream. In a dream, it's normal to jump around. Like, first I was with that guy driving down the road. Then I found myself over here eating a sandwich. Like, it doesn't matter if there's no integument tying those events together. But our rational mind does need that integument tying things together. Otherwise, it's like we look at it like it's not a real reality. So the real question is, how can we get from our present format and what we're presently experiencing in our present trajectory onto those expanded timelines of total health and vitality and planetary health and vitality and social structure change? What are the intervening steps? So here's an intervening step. Wait, where's my little thing? Okay, here's an intervening step that says how we solve discontinuity. A magic wand. Wave my magic wand and poof, now everybody's on the right timeline. Matt, you must believe in magic wand. Deus ex machina. This is the idea of a contrived plot structure that says, now we're going to take everything that's screwed up and make it suddenly, snap my fingers, everything is great. Or how about a magic portal? I'm in this room right now and everything is going the way it's going. here's a magical key, and when I put it into the wall, it opens up a door that's a magic portal, and then I step through that door into the magical reality where everything is now perfectly formed and perfectly structured and everyone's in a perfect state of health. Like the rational, logical mind, the implanted human mind, needs that integument that ties you together from one set of possibilities into the next set of possibilities. Otherwise, there's cognitive dissonance. Like, I can't believe this. I can't believe that I'm here. You kind of can't stay in that reality. So the question for each person is, what do you need as your personal integument, as your personal narrative structure to say how you went from being who you were experiencing, what you were experiencing, into this expanded reality. Like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the magic wand was a magical transportation device. He pressed the button on the magical transportation device and he left Earth and went on a space adventure. Each one of us can have a similar experience where we leave our former paradigm and, oh, so what's the RV? Beth is saying some people want the RV to change the world. I don't know what that means. But so you answer that, and then we get to Ariel. Ariel said, about 15 years ago, I was running a meditation class, and I did something on the spur of the moment, letting them be drawn to their own star or planet. And in my own experience where I was drawn to one, and it was Lyra, and was before anyone knew or mentioned Lyra at all. Fascinating. That is fascinating. So that's because that's, your origins. It's the origins of your consciousness and your connection to that particular star system and those photons from that place. And this is also why I wouldn't tell anyone else what to paint with their paintbrush, because you have your own heritage, you have your own approach, you have your own, it's like whether you come from, Ukraine or whether you come from Australia, like you have your own cultural background, and that's beautiful, and that will inform your artwork and your art making in this time and place. Beth is clarifying that thing that she was saying. Go back to this thing. Revaluation of currencies plus global reset. Good. So, okay, we do need to have revaluation of currencies and global reset, but a big part of this is also a transformation of consciousness in terms of how we ascribe value. Like right now, how do we ascribe value? It's like that guy over there, he's a total fat ass billionaire, but he's allowed to have billions of dollars because we all agree to it. And it's like, well, what narrative structure do we have to have for Aurora to have billions of dollars? Do you have to say Aurora dug a ditch and earned this money and that's how she got that money? Or Aurora invented blah, blah product and then sold this product to everyone? Or why do some people get to have $1 billion and some people get to live in a hut? And if we're going to have this revaluation of currency, we have to say, what are the value system that we use to ascribe why some people should have abundance and some people should not. So I'm saying all of this, we need to have like an inner transformation where we say, who gives the most? Like why do you need this? Do you need to have $1 billion mansion? What are you doing with your $1 billion? Why do you need this money? So it's like, something, guys, if you gave me $1 billion, I would make big, giant, awesome art projects. You have an idea of what I would do with that type of currency, with that type of money. How about if I'm like, I'm going to give $1 billion to someone who's like in the military industrial complex, so they could build a bunch of bombs and blow a bunch of things up. There's a lot of people on this planet that think we should do that. Yes, we should fund the military so that we have many, many bombs to blow people up. They're not like we should fund Aurora, so we should have many, many paintings to enlighten people. So what is the value system that we need? We need to change our form of currency, but we also need to change how we ascribe value to various different physical activities. Like in this physical world right now, people don't value that much making artwork or making music or being a healer, but people value a lot like guns. They're like, yeah, we gotta buy guns first, and then paintings can come later. But it's like, why do we do that? So we need to transform our whole value system as a society. Rachel's saying money is energy. I agree completely. She also says currency, but we don't own our energetic potential. Becoming sovereign is our energy is the key. What I really see happening as we are doing this Flying Rainbow Lasagna transformation is that the people that have the strongest imagination are the people that will have the most physical resources and abundance, because we're no longer going to have a world where it's based upon your physical labor, like how many ditches can you dig and then that's how many dollars you get, or how much did your family hand down to you so that you can have then so many stock options or whatever. Those people are totally unimaginative. Like I have derided that movie, The Green Lantern, where he gets the magic ring and then he imagines like a gun or a car. Like that, we're all about to get our Green Lantern ring. That's what Jen is saying. We need to bake better cookies for the future. Each one of us has this cookie factory. She's referring to the video that I did called Reality Creation, and it's a really good one. It's worth checking out, where we have a cookie factory that is based upon the dough of our imagination, and we are literally creating events of reality. Guess what, guys? I'm creating events of reality with my mind, and I have a really strong imagination. I have a very loud voice that I use and I sing, and I do the flying rainbow lasagna every day, and I'm affecting reality, and you're all affecting reality too, and it's this consensual mural or symphony of life that we're all adding to. At a certain point, like I told you, the synthetic telepaths are not going to be able to be here anymore. They will literally, their cellular structure will drip away because they can't be on this planet anymore. And the people that do have the correct cellular structure and are singing the right notes will have vitality, will have continuity, will have coherence. So thank you. I think I'll have to wrap it up, but I want to get to the rest of these. Rachel, oh, thank you very much, Jen. I love you too. Thank you. I appreciate that. Rachel is saying, lovely to be here with you all. Until next time, she's signing off. It's good to see you. I need to sign off too and go walk my dog. Oh, thank you, Rachel. You say, Aurora, you are such a gift. And thank you very much. I appreciate that. Like, I'm definitely, in the work that I'm doing here, I'm definitely sending out my best energy that I possibly can, with the idea that we can help each other on this marathon. Like, I love to make artwork. I love to work on my own. It's very introspective. I'm very, whatever. I'm like, party of one. But I also love to connect with other people and share these ideas. That is what it is, because we encourage and inspire one another. We don't have to do the journey on our own. We don't have to do the soul migration on our own. Ariel says, creativity and freedom is what I truly value. We are the people that value creativity and freedom. We are the people that will still be here. We've got staying power. We'll continue to be alive and continue to be here when people that don't have imagination and they don't have creativity and they are self-destructive. Thank you very much, Beth. Thank you to everyone who's been here. I mean, a big part of this, some of this is flapping of moving mouth parts and intellectual ideas and, like speaking with pictures and stuff like that. But also a big part of this is we get together each week and we're like, yes, like we are doing this. You don't have to do it on your own. It's like when someone's giving birth, you're having a lady having a baby. You got people around you that are cheerleading and saying like, yes, you can do it. You have the new baby. We as a planet are having this baby. We need to all encourage each other and be like midwives and be like, yes, like we are doing it. Pedro is saying we stay, the rest will be shed like the husk left behind. That is exactly right. How many times have I said we're in a refinery of consciousness, like you refine gold out of ore, and we are the gold. We are the imagination people. We are the people that are able to work from true love, and love is not just this airy fairy ideal. The demons are like, love, blah, I deride you. But love is a very real tool. That is very real energy. That's the real currency. So the people that will be rich in the present, moving into the future world that we're experiencing, are the people that have the most love energy that is coming out of their cellular structure, the strongest thought and imagination structure, the strongest voice, either physically or mentally, in order to share it with others. So it's really important to me, like, keep your eye on that goal, because we're in this world where things are very unfair and there's a lot of turmoil at the moment. And we're moving into this time that is much, much better. And I'm not just giving you hopium, the hope of a lobotomized idiot. All of this is based in my expectations are based in very real knowledge of what is happening. So once again, like, I'm not just leading you down the garden path, like everything is going to be so great, guys. I'm telling you, everything is really transforming into a great state, while I also recognize the incredible duress that we're under, like as we are giving birth, as we're transforming into this new state. Thank you very much, Jen, for what you said. And I agree with you, Ariel, that love is a unifying course. I'm very happy to connect with you all. Thank you. So you do something. Jen says, keep making beautiful things for you. I happily will do that. I'm telling you, this is the easiest part of my day, like making beautiful paintings and making sculptures and sharing ideas with people. Like, if I never had to administrate anything or do taxes or make sure that my car had the oil changed, my life would be incredibly easy. All of those mundane tasks are very challenging, but these things are super awesome, and I'm happy to share them with others. Like as lasagna food, eat some lasagna food, keep running the marathon, and I'm telling you, we really are getting somewhere with this. I've been doing this class for about 5 years, and I've seen profound changes on the planet and in human minds. And even in the past year, I've seen a lot of changes in human minds. And all of that is because we are all collectively restructuring the inside, and then restructuring manifests into the outside, and then it reflects back to the inside. That's flying rainbow lasagna. I literally see the membrane that separates all of us as becoming porous. This is beautiful. Brandon is saying, let me read this out. Brandon says, thank you so much, Aurora. You brought the sun to Alaska, both literally and in our home. Love to you. I'm sending love back to you. Thank you. Receiving that love and sending it back loud and clear. So thank you very much, guys. I got to wrap it up for right now. My little dog definitely needs a walk. With profound appreciation for everyone who has watched this video and who participated and who helps to keep the lasagna aloft. I really appreciate it very much. So we'll return next week. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Love back to you. Love is a real food, like lasagna. I feel your love. Sometimes I connect when I'm doing my meditations, and I feel all of you guys doing your dancing, and I feel that love, and it absolutely like helps to sustain me. So thank you for the love, and I send it back to you. Have a wonderful night, everyone. I gotta get out.